There's a moment people start looking for after a messy breakup. That's hard to describe, but it's very easy to misinterpret. They're not necessarily trying to feel happy again. They're not even trying to feel excited. What they're really looking for is a sense that they're ready. They're ready to open up. They're ready to date. They're ready to move forward without dragging the past into everything. Most people will try to figure this out in their head. They'll ask themselves questions like, am I over it yet? Am I healed enough? Do I feel confident? And these questions sound reasonable, and yet from a somatic perspective, they don't actually tell the whole story. They don't give you much information. Because readiness isn't a thought, like a gold sticker that you arrive at. It's a state that your nervous system enters. Now, before I go any further, I want to pause here for a quick personal orientation. It'll change how you find this video useful and personally applicable. So, different nervous systems reach readiness through different paths. So what will help one person genuinely integrate can quietly push another person into repetition of the same pattern. If you want to know how your nervous system tends to organize in stress and loss, there's a short Somatic Skins Quiz assessment linked below. Pause this video, go down and take it. It's not advice and it's not a label. It will give you a clear orientation so that you're not guessing or forcing yourself into the wrong timeline as you listen. Okay, now let's talk about what being ready actually looks like in the body. You're ready again when your nervous system can engage without borrowing regulation patterns from the past. That means you're not relying on someone else to calm you down. You're not bracing to avoid being hurt again. And you're not collapsing when things feel uncertain or ambiguous. This is where a lot of people get tripped up. They'll confuse emotional distance with integration. The pain quiets down, the intensity fades, and they assume that means that they're ready. Or they feel lonely, restless, or motivated, and they attach that energy to the next person without realizing that the system underneath hasn't actually reorganized yet. When that happens, it's not really choice, it's compensation. A nervous system that isn't integrated will look for regulation wherever it can find it. Another person, another goal, another source of intensity. And when that's the case, the same relational patterns tend to reappear, just with different details. Actual readiness is much quieter than people expect. It doesn't show up as confidence in the abstract, and it doesn't show up as certainty about the future. What it shows up as is the ability to stay present when there's uncertainty, to feel attraction without urgency, and to stay connected to yourself even when someone's emotions or their availability shift. From the outside, that can look almost unremarkable, but from the inside, it feels really different. One of the things that I can notice for someone when they are actually ready again is that their body responds as closeness increases. Their breath will stay available. They don't tighten or disappear when connection comes online. Their posture doesn't collapse or harden under attention. Their attention stays with reality of what's happening instead of scanning for reassurance or threat. That's not confidence, that's coherence. And coherence doesn't come from time passing, it comes from integration. Integration is what happens when the capacities we've been talking about throughout the series, structure, energy, attention, and identity, no longer need to be consciously managed. The system holds itself. You don't have to remind yourself not to text, for example. You don't have to talk yourself down from reactions. You don't have to monitor your behavior or someone else's to make sure that you're doing it right. The nervous system has enough internal organization that engagement no longer destabilizes it. This is also why people often feel a strange neutrality right before true readiness arrives. The system is no longer dysregulated enough to generate drama, but it hasn't yet oriented towards something new. So many people mistake this phase for emptiness or boredom, and they'll rush to fill it, assuming something is missing. In reality, that neutral phase is often the first sign that integration is actually happening. It's the nervous system learning how to be with itself again, and this part matters because being ready doesn't mean that you won't feel anything. It means feeling won't knock you off center. You can feel attraction without urgency, disappointment without total collapse. You can feel closeness without losing your edges or your sense of self. That's the difference between moving on and repeating a loop. Different nervous systems arrive at this state through different paths. So some stabilize through structure and strength, some through flexibility and adaptation, some through clarity and focus, and some through sensation and relational awareness. These aren't personalities, they're somatic orientations, ways the nervous system organizes coherence under load. Again, if you want clarity on which orientation you tend to lead with in love, leadership, work, and personal meaning, the Somatic Skins Quiz linked below can give you that starting point. Consider it the opening of a deeper conversation with yourself, mind and body. And if you want guided support rebuilding these capacities in sequence, or you're a somatic professional who works at depth with your own clients, this is exactly the work that we do and so much more inside the Prestige, helping people restore coherence so that readiness for all of what life is ready to bring them can come online, not something that they have to force. Because being open to more isn't just about leaving the past behind. It's about being organized enough that the past no longer needs to come with you. That's integration. If you've made it through this series, I hope that you found this as interesting to listen to as I did to share with you. Please do consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel out, and I'll see you next time.